Welcome back to the Token Launch Masterclass. This is episode 17, and today we're going to war. We're calling this one Sybil Resistance for Public Sales, the war against bots. Look, let's be blunt. If you screw up your public sale, you've poisoned the well from day one. A fair launch isn't some fuzzy, feel-good concept. It's the absolute bedrock of your community. It's the moment you prove to your earliest supporters that the game isn't rigged. And the single biggest threat to that fairness is a bot-driven Sybil attack. I've seen projects with great tech get their communities gutted by a sale where one whale with 1,000 wallets snatches up half the supply. So, this episode is a field manual. I'm going to walk you through the defensive strategies I look for as an investor, and the ones I tell founders they absolutely must implement. This is your guide to building a fortress. All right, before we build our defenses, we need to clearly define the enemy. What is a Sybil attack? Forget the complicated definitions. Here's how I see it. It's like a raffle for a single rare bottle of whiskey, where the rule is one ticket per person. A fair-playing enthusiast buys one ticket. The Sybil attacker is the guy who walks in with 1,000 fake mustaches and buys 1,000 tickets under 1,000 fake names. He's gaming the system to guarantee he wins. In our world, that's one person or one entity using scripts to create thousands of wallets. They then flood your public sale, grabbing all the small allocations meant for genuine community members. It's not just unfair, it's a direct assault on decentralization. You end up with one massive holder, not 1,000 true believers. All right, so let's talk about the first line of defense most projects throw up. The traditional guards, KYC, and whitelisting. KYC, or Know Your Customer, is the sledgehammer approach. You make everyone upload their passport or driver's license to some third-party service. The pro is obvious. It's a massive pain in the ass for a bot operator to get 1,000 legitimate government IDs. It's a high barrier. But frankly, I hate it. The cons are huge. You're forcing your community to dox themselves, introducing a centralized point of failure, and creating a ton of friction. It just feels antithetical to the whole point of this space. Then you have whitelisting. The idea is to pre-approve a list of wallets. What I see happen 99% of the time is that this just moves the war. The bots don't attack the sale. They attack the whitelist process. They spam your Gleam contest or flood your Discord with fake accounts. You haven't solved the Sybil problem, you've just relocated the battlefield. So, if KYC is the old world centralized sledgehammer, this next set of tools is the Web3 scalpel. This is what I call the proof of humanity approach. The philosophical shift here is massive, so listen up. We stop asking, "Are you Jane Doe from 123 Main Street?" And we start asking, "Are you a unique human being?" That's it. We don't need your name, just proof you're not a script. Now, the methods for this are all over the map. You've got the sci-fi approach from WorldCoin, which wants to scan your iris. Frankly, a bit dystopian for my taste, but it's one way to do it. You have proof of humanity, which relies on other verified humans to vouch for you. It's a social, trust-based system. Then there's Bright ID, which analyzes your social graph. The point is, these are native solutions that respect privacy. What I like to see is a team that has actually thought about this. A team that understands they're not verifying a government ID, they're verifying humanness itself. That's how you start building a real, Sybil-resistant community. This brings me to one of my favorite methods, which I call being a wallet detective. Look, the blockchain is a public ledger, so let's use it. A bot operator's wallets are almost always sterile. They're brand new with no history, created just for your sale. What I do, and what I advise every team to do, is to check the receipts. I want to see a wallet with a story. How old is it? Does it have more than a handful of transactions? Has it actually spent a meaningful amount on gas over its lifetime? proving it's not some disposable shell. Even better, has this wallet interacted with established DeFi protocols? I like to see activity like voting in a major DAO or holding an NFT that signals real community participation, not just a quick flip. This isn't about being exclusionary. It's about rewarding the actual citizens of this ecosystem and slamming the door shut on the ghosts. So analyzing a wallet's on-chain history is one thing, but let's take it a step further. We're going to leverage the social graph. What I look for are projects that bridge a user's off-chain life to their on-chain identity without compromising privacy. This is where tools like Gitcoin Passport become non-negotiable for me. Think of it as a digital backpack for your reputation. It lets you collect stamps by linking your wallet to things you already use: your GitHub account, your Twitter profile, your Discord, even your ENS name. A bot can easily create an empty wallet. Can it create 1,000 convincing Twitter profiles with years of history and real followers? Can it create 1,000 active GitHub accounts with meaningful contributions? No. The cost becomes insane. I tell founders to set a minimum passport score. Maybe you need 15 points to qualify. You're not just blocking bots. You're selecting for proven, multidimensional participants. Okay. Social and on-chain analysis is smart, but sometimes you have to get blunt and hit the bots where it hurts: their operational budget. This is all about making it economically unviable to attack you. What I like to see are two simple financial hurdles. First, a small, non-refundable application fee. Maybe 5 or 10 bucks in USDC. For a real person, it's nothing. For a bot operator running 10,000 wallets, that's $100 grand gamble with no guarantee of a return. Second, and this is the real killer move, require a significant deposit that's locked for a period. Say 0.1 ETH per wallet, locked for 30 days post-sale. A real user won't blink. Suddenly, they need to tie up millions in capital just for a chance at an allocation. The risk-reward calculation completely flips. I've seen this work firsthand. A project I advised did this, and the bot complaints were deafening. That's when you know you've won. All right, let's talk about the actual mechanics of the sale. This is where a lot of teams shoot themselves in the foot. You've basically got two main choices: first come, first served, or a lottery. Let me be crystal clear. FCFS is a complete disaster. It's not a public sale. It's a gas war, and it's a war your community is guaranteed to lose against bots. They have faster infrastructure, they can pay insane gas fees, and they will front-run every single one of your real supporters. I tell founders to avoid it like the plague. What I like to see is a simple lottery system. It completely neutralizes the speed advantage. It doesn't matter if you submit in the first second or the last. But here's the crucial part. A lottery is useless if you haven't done the Sybil filtering we just talked about. Otherwise, you're just letting the bots stuff the ballot box. The lottery makes the draw fair, but it's your job to make the entry fair first. So, theory is great, but let's talk about what this looks like in the trenches. I worked with a team, we'll call them Project Axiom, a few months back. They were a prime target for bots, just tons of hype. Here's the exact playbook we ran. First, we set the entry requirement to a Gitcoin Passport score of at least 20. That immediately culled the massive herd of fresh zero-history wallets. Second, every verified applicant had to deposit 0.1 ETH, which was then locked for 30 days post-sale. The bot farm screamed bloody murder. Third, we used a lottery. The result? The post-launch token distribution was one of the cleanest I've ever seen. Why did it work? Because the layers protected each other. The passport score was the social filter, the deposit was the economic wall, and the lottery was the fairness engine. You couldn't brute force your way in. Now, the methods we've covered are the heavy artillery, but what I really like to see are teams getting creative with some guerrilla tactics. The game is to think one step ahead of the bot farms. For example, forget the standard click the fire hydrant captchas. I'm talking about interactive challenges during the sale itself. Maybe a simple logic puzzle tied to your protocol, or a time-gated question about your white paper. It's trivial for a human, but a massive headache to automate at scale. But where I see the real future is in contribution-based allocations. Instead of a flat ticket for everyone, your entry gets weighted by your value to the ecosystem. Did you participate in governance votes? Submit a bug report? Help out in Discord? That should count for something. You're not just blocking bots. You're actively rewarding the people you actually want to build with. Alright, let's put this all together into the final strategy. If you take one thing away from this episode, let it be this. There is no magic bullet. Every single method we've discussed can be beaten in isolation. This is why what I advise every team to do is adopt what I call the Swiss cheese model. Think about it. Any one slice of Swiss cheese has holes in it. Your Gitcoin passport requirement has a hole. Your on-chain wallet analysis has a hole. Your economic deposit has a hole. A clever bot can find a way through any single layer. But the ultimate strategy, what I like to see, is stacking these layers. When you put a social proof layer on top of an economic disincentive, on top of on-chain analysis, and run it all through a fair lottery, the holes don't line up. You create a gauntlet that is simply too complex and too expensive for a bot to navigate. That's how you build a real defense. So let's land the plane. The key takeaway I want you to walk away with is that a robust, multi-layered Sybil resistance strategy is not a nice to have. It's absolutely essential for a fair launch and for the long-term health of your community. What I see is that getting this right is the difference between building on bedrock and building on sand. Thanks for joining me in the trenches today. Next time, on episode 18, we're tackling the airdrop matrix, designing for engagement, not a quick dump. You'll quickly find that all these principles we've just covered are equally critical. An airdrop isn't just a marketing spend. It's a community formation event, and we're going to break down exactly how to ensure you're rewarding builders, not just bot farmers.
If you find this information useful, we would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe this channel to help others find us. If there are subjects you would like covered, please add in the comment section, and we will include it in future episodes.